Life doesn't move in straight lines. It twists, turns, and surprises us along the way. On Better Things Ahead, we talk with people who have walked those winding paths. Each story reminds us of the lessons, hope, and promise of better things ahead. Welcome in. My name is Matt. I'm the Executive and Discipleship Pastor here at Ridgecrest, and joined with me this week is our Senior Pastor, Michael Estes.
Hey.
You know, we are...
Kelly's over there, too.
We do have a producer.
Hello.
Kelly.
Always here.
She will be involved in this episode.
That's right. And so this week we'll kind of, this wraps up our 25, 26 season.
That's right.
First season of Better Things Ahead.
Hard to believe that we've been through a whole season together.
It is. Yeah. It is, a long year, but a lot of really good content, a lot of good things that we kind of talked about. So what we thought we would do for this specific episode is recap some of our favorite moments, favorite episodes, things that really stood out to us, and then give a little bit of a preview of what's coming this summer, as well as our next season, which will start up in the fall, and kind of give our listeners an opportunity to be involved in that and participate. And so it's kind of where we're going. So to kind of kick us off, why don't you start us off, Michael? Kind of share maybe your top 3 episodes that we did on this first season of Better Things Ahead.
Yeah, and my hope is as we share these, and maybe you missed these episodes, and just an encouragement to go back and listen to them, find those episodes and listen to them. So my top 3, one was just because it was fun. The Better Debate episode where we had our hot takes and each of us shared, I think we ended up doing 3 hot takes. We had 5 and we ended up doing our 3, and we just kind of talked about each of our really strong opinions about things. And it was the maddest I've actually been on the podcast because you told me that people should watch movies and not read books. So
that's true. There's so many more senses involved in watching a movie than there
we have
are
to do this
involved
again?
in reading a book.
Your imagination.
You brought it up.
Well, I did, just to remind everybody that Matt's wrong. So,
no matter how good my imagination is, it could not create the soundtrack of Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter.
Okay.
I could not, I would just reading the book. If I would have read the books before I watched the movie, I would not have had that Hedwig's theme going on in my head when I read the book now.
All right. Are you good now?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Second episode, purely because of who was involved in the episode. The episode that we had Lorelai on to talk about teens and kind of dealing with emotional health and that sort of thing. It was awesome to hear her, hear your own daughter share, a little bit about how she deals with emotional health, how it's important for teens to focus on that and to think through that. Jeremy was really helpful in that episode. And the other one that I really enjoyed was also the episode that we had Kayla White and Stacey Albritton came on, and they talked about anxiety generally. And I thought they both did a great job kind of thinking through how anxiety affects children. Kayla being a specialist on that particular issue, being a counselor for children, young teenagers, and just being really good at what she does. I really enjoyed having those conversations. If I had an honorable mention, it would have been the Better Empty Nesting with the ushers. And I really enjoyed having them on this. I knew the content beforehand. We'd had them as a part of our marriage conference a few years ago do a class on empty nesting and talk about that stage of marriage. And so I knew a lot of that story already, and it was just awesome to hear that again. And I'll share a little bit later, but that had an effect on somebody outside of our church community, and which is exactly what we want this podcast to do. So what about you? What are your top 3?
So I'm going to say my top 3. I don't know that these top are 3 in any particular order.
Right, so it's just 3 that you really like.
3 that I really like. I'd have a hard time ranking them above one or the other.
Yeah, mine weren't really ranked either. So.
Yeah, and so one I would say, in general was kind of our holiday series. Mm-hmm. Whenever we were spending time at the Christmas season and holidays in general, really, enjoyed that, and I'm not a big holiday guy.
I was about to say, did it change your opinion on holidays?
Not much. But I enjoyed, being able to hear through the different, the travel aspect, the grief, all those kinds of things. But if I picked one in that series, it was when we had Stephen Stafford on, kind of talk about resolutions, and from a counselor's perspective, and making better life choices and things like that. So I really enjoyed that one. Another one that I really enjoyed was when we sat down with Miss Maria Teresa Salzman to talk about citizenship.
Yeah.
One, I really appreciated her willingness to kind of walk through that journey and talk through those kinds of things. And, essentially it's kind of a hot topic in our culture today and all those kinds of things. And so, what I enjoyed most about it was the opportunity to learn from her, and then also that additional learning and kind of digging into that a little bit and just better understanding that topic.
Yeah, it feels like it's a practical resource that if I knew somebody that was maybe considering trying to go for citizenship, I could share that resource with them, and maybe that would be helpful. So
that's right.
I like that about it.
Yeah, that's right. And then my last one that, I would say that, kind of made my top three was when we met with Jackson Street Ministry.
Yeah.
That was good because we have several individuals within our church who have been involved in Jackson Street Ministry. And, we've kind of been, I guess, tangentially connected because so many of our people here. But it was great to be able to sit down and talk with him and really understand that ministry and be able to hear how it's changed, what it looked like before COVID, into COVID, post-COVID, and how it continues to evolve and how they are looking for that opportunity to serve the community. And so those are probably my top three,
Okay.
And then I'm sure I could find an honorable mention, because there were several, really enjoyed I'm very practical. So any of the episodes that we really talked with people and learned some very practical life skills, which is kind of the whole point of Better Things Ahead, those are the things that I really draw from and really enjoy learning from those life experiences and kind of that sort of thing. So
yeah. Okay. Kelly, what about you?
Okay, my first one is one that neither of y'all said, was the finances with Tim. Nobody really talks about finances. So
we just don't like Tim.
I really like Tim. But no one really talks about finances, and that was a great resource that I feel like other people could use, but it was also fun because it was Tim. So that took my number one spot. My next, being Matt's share, is the resolutions with Stephen. I think he did a really good job of explaining resolutions, and I learned I should not make New Year's resolutions, even though I had already made them at that point in time.
You're like, oh man, now I got to go throw these in the trash.
But I did it. Recap it. I ran the marathon I said I was going to run back then. I know, that's
Congratulations
crazy.
again.
Thanks. Not a full marathon, just half of it. And then my last one was the anxiety with Kayla and Stacy. I think that was a really good one. And then I enjoyed talking to Kayla. You have good friends.
Well, it's amazing that anybody wants to call me a friend, but no, I'm just kidding. But Kayla's great at what she does. So she's been a big help to Lorelai in the past, and Lorelai shared on her episode about that, and I thought she would be a great guest, and she was. So in case you listen to that episode, you might want to listen to it just a little bit slower because she talks really fast. She is very passionate about what she talks about, and so she fits a lot into the times that she speaks. So
I have an honorable mention.
What's your honorable mention?
Our debate, because I was so uncomfortable that whole episode, and I made it through.
Good for you. I'm proud. We're proud of you.
And was that your premiere episode? The first time you really...
Did we do passions before that or after?
I can't remember. Maybe.
I don't know, but fighting with your two bosses is weird. If you ever want to do that, don't do that.
Oh, no. It was fun. We should do it again. I shared before, one of the things that we hope this podcast does is it does give our people and people that listen to the podcast a tool to share with other people, a resource for somebody else. And that's exactly what happened with our Empty Nesting podcast. So the couple that was on for that, the Ushers, they have a daughter-in-law who works in the airline industry. And she was talking with a captain, one of the people that she flies with, and that captain was sharing that he's about to become an empty nester. He was kind of nervous about that step in his life, and she was like, "I've got my in-laws just talked about this on a podcast," and so she shared the podcast with him, and it was cool to me to know that was immediately something that could be helpful to somebody else. And obviously, I'm hopeful that that's what's happened with some of the other podcasts. Kelly was going to tell us about another one of our podcasts that actually was used in a very helpful way here at our church.
Yes, we released our first grief podcast with Pat and Debbie, and it was a really good podcast. And then Brian came in there. Brian is our adults pastor here, and he just said, hey, we're going to start grief tomorrow. And the podcast came out on Tuesday, and grief support was starting on Wednesday. We're going to use that podcast you just talked about. And so that was cool to see that our podcast turned into like a study type of thing where they could pause it and they could talk about what Debbie and Pat said, and it was really cool that was being used in other ways.
That's exactly what we want. That's what we're hopeful for when we do this podcast. I mean, there are parts of it that we want to be fun and, a chance for people to escape and do something different. But more than anything, we want to be practical. We want to be helpful. We want people to have better experiences in their life than maybe that we had, or somebody else that comes on and talks about something they've been through. We're doing this so that people can benefit and have a better experience with the things that we're going through.
Yeah. So let's kind of talk through where we're going to go this summer.
Yeah.
And so that way, our members can, before we do that, Kelly, why don't you share some statistics?
We're going to find out in real life, in this moment, how we did on certain episodes.
Yeah.
Yes, so they have not heard this yet, but I pulled all the stats from all of our different episodes that we've had in season 1, and I've got our top 3 and then our total flop. And so we're going to start with number 3. So this is our third most played episode, but it's actually a tie. It literally lined up exactly the same. Do you want to try to guess?
So guessing number 3.
Number 3.
I mean, you've said a lot about this one already. I think it's probably our finance one. Oh.
Is it? I was going to say one of our parenting ones.
Yeah.
Maybe the empty nester one.
No.
It's Nick and Megan, isn't it?
Not number 3.
Oh, wow. So they're number 2.
We haven't gotten to number 2 yet.
Well, I got to remind myself.
Okay.
Parenting one? Was it the grandparenting one?
Yes. Better Grandparenting with Dave and Wendy. And then it tied with Youth Sports with Jackson Estes.
Hey.
It runs in the family.
Yeah.
I know that kid.
Yes.
But what's impressive with Better Grandparenting is that was our most recent
Well, yeah, one of our most recent ones.
episode.
It's going to move up the
and so
list, I
it will.
fear. Yeah. That came out.
Is that because Dave
2
and
days
Wendy are
ago.
super popular?
I think they've
they're
got
sharing it
friends.
with all their
Yeah.
friends.
Yep.
Yeah.
Listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, number 2. Give me your best guess.
I'm going to say it's
I'll
Nick
give
and
you a
Megan.
hint. It was just the 3 of us.
Oh. So is it the debate?
No, not the
No,
debate.
Not the debate.
Was it Rushmore?
Not Rushmore.
Was it? Just the 3 of us. Was it?
Had to do with planes.
Oh, Passions. Better Passions.
Yes,
Yeah.
Better Passions
Wow.
was number 2.
Number 2.
Wow.
I know.
That's cool.
I was impressed by that one too.
I wasn't ready for that one.
Yeah.
I know, I kind of forgot we did that one.
Yeah.
Until we brought it up. Okay, number 1 spot. What do y'all think?
Is it a single episode?
Finances.
Or are there any ties?
Oh, it's a single episode.
Single episode.
And it was not finances.
So this one was Better Parenting with Nick and Megan.
Yes, it was.
Talk about popular. They're definitely popular.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, they must have shared it with all their friends. Hello, Nick and Megan's friends. Okay, our total flop. This one did awful.
So before you reveal this one,
Okay.
did we have a guest on this one?
No, it was just
Just the 3 of us.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, well,
I just
what
wanna make
makes me
sure we
feel
didn't
good
have to,
about
like-
this, though, that even though we had a total flop, it was just the 3 of us. We also had one of the most popular episodes, that just the 3 of us. So
Yeah.
it was
That's
maybe
true.
the content more than anything else.
Possibly.
Right.
I was just making sure we didn't have to run like interference to let a guest know, hey, listen, thanks for coming, but
You maybe don't want to listen to this one.
No. You should go back and listen to it, and maybe you'll actually like this one. Do you want to guess before I say it?
Maybe it was Rushmore.
Not Rushmore.
Was it the first one?
The Welcome? No.
Okay.
I don't think I was a part of The Welcome. I was a part of this one,
Oh, gosh.
which makes it even worse.
I have no idea.
Do you have a guess? Man, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't even have a guess.
Better holidays, would you rather? Like 2 people listen to that. 2.
Wow.
Thank you to our 2 people.
That was my mom,
That's what I was gonna say, is your mom was one of them.
and I don't know who the other person was, but bless you. Thank you for being the second person.
2 out of 3 apps.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow.
That one needs to be deleted.
And wasn't that a pretty good one? I guess not.
I guess no, apparently not.
Apparently
But I
not.
also think that was one of the ones that went out like Christmas or the day
Sure.
before Christmas or something like that.
Yeah.
And people were interested, and yeah, that one flopped terribly.
Yeah. So next year, Christmas, we'll have a better episode that you really want to listen to while you're traveling to your families, and
Yes.
so we'll keep that.
We got to go hot button for that or something.
Yeah, something.
Hot button.
Hot button topic or something. I don't know. Okay.
That's good. That was very interesting. And so,
I feel
so
like
yeah,
Nick and Megan should get a prize.
okay. And so we can give them a nice.
Yeah, we can give one of our pieces of decorations.
If you're just listening, it's a $1 succulent that we want to give them.
It's not real.
Yeah.
Maybe
This
give them
from
all
Hobby
3.
Lobby. Ooh, all 3.
Big time prize.
Yep.
But no. So it's good. I think that shows as we kind of like see some of those stats, and each of those episodes were very different
yeah.
topics.
Yep.
And again, kind of going back to our idea and our passion for this podcast is to create and give the opportunity to share stories, share life experiences, so that way, whether it's someone, a high school student or, an empty nester or a young parent, whomever, they can find, pieces of truth in those stories and experiences, so that way they can, experience all those journeys that they will inevitably go through, and experiencing them better than the ones before.
Yeah.
So that's good. So with kind of that idea and this idea of recap, that's kind of brings us to where we want to go this summer. We'll launch a new season this fall. But this summer, we wanted to kind of use this as an opportunity, one, for us to go ahead and start planning, start getting, our new, those new stories that we're going to share with season 2.
Yep.
We're going to update our podcast studio, do a lot of those things. So we're going to use
That's the reason we can give decorations away as prizes.
Okay, that makes sense now.
And so we're going to make all these updates, and we're going to use this summer as an opportunity to do that. However, we still wanted to be able to highlight better things ahead this summer. So what we're going to do this summer is provide and kind of replay some of our favorite, most popular kind of hit episodes. So that way, if someone joined us and started listening in the past few weeks, and they don't want to go through Apple Podcasts or Spotify or YouTube to try to go back and look and find some certain ones, they'll get a new, kind of a re-release of that episode. And some of these significant ones, maybe these highest performing ones, maybe we'll tuck in the flop just to see if
does any better
it does
this
any better.
time?
Maybe it does a little bit better this time.
Nothing
Maybe we
like
get some
a little,
sympathy listens.
nothing like a little Christmas in July. And so we'll kind of do that, but just to give you an opportunity to hear some of those. Maybe it was one that we talked about that you missed, and we want to provide an easy on-ramp for you to be able to hear that and relive some of these best moments. And so we're going to do that over the next several weeks, and then this fall we're going to jump into season 2.
Yeah.
In season 2, we've already started kind of talking through some of those stories, some of the where we're going to go in that. However, this is where we want our listeners or viewers, if you're watching on YouTube, to be involved. And so what we would encourage you to do is, as you listen to this podcast, you can comment. I know if you're listening on Spotify or watching on YouTube, you can leave a comment, but comment a topic that you would like to hear, and specifically, maybe it's a topic, regarding a life stage that you're getting ready to walk through, or a particular experience that you're thinking about walking through, and share that in the comments so we can start kind of weaving those into, better things ahead next year, because we want you to have that input, and we want to share stories again that impact you and gives you a resource to not only you listen to and experience, but you also share with others. And so that's our goal going into this summer. So with that being said, Michael, did you have any lasting things you wanted to share as we, kind of I guess, wrap up our recap of this year, start looking towards the summer, and start looking ahead to next year?
Yeah. I think what I would want to share with people is, I know life is busy. You get in the middle of life and lots of stuff's going on. And you can kind of get swept up in the pace of things. And I would encourage you guys, like, to slow down enough to actually enjoy your life. Slow down enough to consider the decisions that you're making. Slow down enough to watch your kids grow up, to enjoy God's creation. If you really want to enjoy life and experience it in a better way, I think a big part of that is being able to slow down. Even if the schedule doesn't help you do that, to find ways to hit the brake and just reflect. Hit the brake and just watch. Be observant. Watch for God to work. It's just so easy for us to always be on go and always be like overwhelmed by our schedule that we just miss out on so many good things. And I would encourage you guys. I'm in the middle of one of those seasons of life where, like, there are a lot of really incredible things happening in our family's life, but it can be easy to just get overwhelmed by the schedule and just miss out on that stuff. And I want to encourage our listeners to really take it in as much as possible, because it passes you by pretty quickly. I'm about to send my second child out of the house to go to college, and the thought of our home being way different in the fall is one that, like, is kind of overwhelming, but it's also exciting, and I want to be able to take it in. I want to be able to enjoy the summer. I want to be able to enjoy these steps of life, and the only way I can do that is if I am intentional about that and slow down enough to do it. So that's I think it's my biggest encouragement to those listening. Is, like, just do the best you can to slow down.
Yeah, that's good. And so as we wrap up our season 1 of Better Things Ahead, we are hopeful that you have experienced these life journeys from other individuals and learn from them, and have that opportunity to slow down, embrace these things that we kind of walk through. We look forward to seeing you in the fall and this summer. We hope you enjoy our reminder episodes that we bring to you this summer, as you get to have these better reminders leading up to our season 2. And as always, we appreciate you listening. Have a great week. Thanks for joining us on Better Things Ahead. Follow the show on Spotify and Apple Podcast, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for the video of our podcast. Until next time, keep moving forward, because there are always better things ahead.